Good afternoon. This is Corby Dickerson here at the National Weather Service in Missoula, Montana. I'm going to provide you guys with a little bit of information about the big pattern change we're expecting this week as we go from the continued hot and dry that we've endured throughout much of this summer to a much colder and wetter weather pattern moving into the region on Thursday and Friday and into the weekend. So this is our weather story we produced over the weekend as an introduction to show this big change coming. We were hot and dry yesterday, even a little bit hotter today with some afternoon puffy clouds and maybe some overnight showers and thunderstorms developing. There will be a brief break in the precipitation tomorrow, be in the 70s and 80s tomorrow. But the big change comes on Thursday and then especially Friday as temperatures take a nosedive, dipping into the 60s and even the 50s in many places, with widespread rain and mountain snow developing even by Friday and Saturday mornings. And then this weekend, we'll be looking at our first potential for widespread frost and maybe even a freeze. So let's break this down and look at things starting on Thursday. We're looking at much cooler weather. Light rain over much of the region, heaviest precipitation along the Continental Divide, with the snow level lowering Thursday night. This is our high temperature forecast for Thursday and the total amount of rainfall we expect Thursday into Thursday night across the area. Much of the precipitation will be falling very late in the afternoon and especially during the overnight hours on Thursday, with high temperatures in southwest Montana and along the Continental Divide most likely to occur probably early in the day and then cool as precipitation develops. There'll be a welcome 61 degrees in Missoula and in much of the western Montana valleys and even into the central Idaho valleys and up in northwest Montana. As we look at Friday, we're seeing even colder conditions, continued steady rain in the valleys with light mountain snow above 6,000 feet. We've actually just issued a winter storm watch highlighting snow in the southwestern Montana part of our state. We expect that snow to be most prevalent across the higher terrain near the Continental Divide. That includes Glacier National Park, the Bob Marshall Wilderness area, the Swan Range in the Sealy area, and also across southwest Montana. In fact, the heaviest amounts should be in southwest Montana, pretty much over the Anaconda Pintlers, and then the hillsides outside of Butte, heading up over Homestake and McDonald Pass. It's still too warm to get much accumulation on the roadways, except if the precipitation becomes quite heavy, which we're not anticipating. However, a brief slush in the air is most likely, and it may accumulate ever so briefly on the highways. Most likely, the impacts will be localized to the higher terrain, backcountry trails, roads, Forest Service roads. Anyone who's getting out this late this week and into the weekend who's planning to go hunting or camping and enjoy finally some clear air and a big change in the weather. Here's our high temperature forecast for Friday. We're looking at the low to mid 40s down there in Butte, Anaconda area, mid 50s in the Missoula Bitterroot Valley, up through the Flathead and Mission Valley, into low 60s and mid to upper 50s in northwest Montana. Even cool conditions all the way out to the Camas Prairie and up into Orofino. On the right, you'll see these are forecast high temperature differences. This is the difference between what's happening outside right now here Tuesday afternoon and what we are expecting on Friday. Anywhere from pretty much a 20 to 50 degree temperature swing is possible and seemingly likely across much of the area. A 30 degree temperature difference between what we're seeing today in the Missoula Bitterroot Valley and what we're expecting on Friday. 40 degree temperature swing down in southwest Montana as they endure pretty steady precipitation and even some snow by Friday morning. Speaking of snow and rain, here's our forecast for precipitation totals on Friday and Friday night, and this extends through Saturday morning. And then the amounts of snow we're expecting Thursday night through Friday morning, it's not a whole lot of snow, but it is snow. We are seeing anywhere from up to 1 inch in the general 6,000 to 7,000 foot range. 1 to 3, up to 6 inches are possible on the higher terrain above 7,000 feet. Places like Georgetown Lake could see even a couple inches of snow on the sides of the road and around the lake and on the hillsides. Many of the hillsides looking at the Continental Divide are going to be white as you wake up Friday morning. These are total amounts of snowfall and rainfall, which really don't change much as far as the snowfall does, but this is the total amount of rain we're expecting across central Idaho and western Montana. Unfortunately, northwest Montana misses the lion's share of precipitation. You will see some rain, but probably not much. The heaviest amounts extend well into southwest Montana, where an inch to an inch and a half may be possible, with the highest amounts in the terrain. Generally speaking, half an inch to 3/4 of an inch in Missoula, Bitterroot, up through the Sealy Swan and to the southern reaches of the Bob and Glacier National Park, and even down into Lemhi County, where they'll probably see 3/4 of an inch to up to an inch of precipitation. So it's a pretty substantial change between what we've been seeing and what we will be seeing at the end of this week. In short, fall appears to be knocking on our doorstep. This weekend, we anticipate decreasing clouds and precipitation with widespread frost likely. In fact, we might even see our first hard freeze. Here's our temperature forecast for Saturday on the left and Sunday on the right. These could change as these low temperatures are highly dependent upon cloud cover, wind, and a couple other factors determining what day could be the coldest. Nonetheless, it's probably best for those of us who still have plants growing and care for our gardens to extend a little bit more into September. Might be best to start planning to cover things up and start looking to make our mitigation efforts to keep our gardening season alive just ever so bit longer. Looking at next week and beyond, we're actually seeing yet another cold and wet weather system developing over the region by Tuesday. And it's still too early to say how wet and how cold, but it looks very similar to the one we're dealing with. And overall, this looks like we're in the beginnings of a larger scale, long wave, we call it, pattern change across the northern Pacific Ocean. And that may likely continue, that may quite continue for a while. It looks like influencing conditions across the globe could result in a more troughing pattern across the western United States, which would promote continued cool, moist, and perhaps wet conditions. A certainly welcome change from the dry and hot, smoky conditions we've had as of late. One system may not do it to put fire season completely to bed, but it certainly will put it in the bed. And if this pattern develops like we think it will next week, I think we can probably tuck it in and maybe kiss it goodbye, which I think is a welcome bit for everybody. Thanks for joining us on this briefing. We've got all of our latest on the web at our website, weather.gov/Missoula. We also have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and we love to post content and interact with everybody on those social media platforms. We're also here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holidays, to help you out. You can call us at the number listed on your screen. I hope you guys have a great day. And I hope you get yourselves all set to welcome fall later on this week. Thanks.